Okay, not that you guys care, but this review is a bit late because I actually saw this movie last night and I couldn't review it yesterday because I literally saw a late showing of this movie. My showing was literally 9:40 p.m. So, yeah, by the time I got home, I it was way too late and I couldn't film a YouTube video because I didn't want my family, waltzing around the house yelling at me and say, "Shut up, mom, dad, everybody, I'm talking about Kung Fu Panda 4. It's way better than sleeping." Yeah, so not that you guys care, but yeah, this is a bit of a late review, but anyway, here it goes. This is my review for Kung Fu Panda 4. So the plot of this movie is ever since Po became the Dragon Warrior for so long, he's also realizing that he has to eventually retire from the role and pass it on to someone else. So he goes about and tries to find somebody to take his place. And meanwhile, there's this villain called the Chameleon, played by Viola Davis, who's a shape shifting spirit who wants to harness the power of all the kung fu masters, including all the villains that Po has faced, and she tries to defeat Po and obtain power over the whole art of kung fu. So, and Po also teams up with this little fox played by Aquafina, who's this wanted thief, and they have an unlikely friendship where they just waltz about and try to protect each other while trying to stop the chameleon and try to find a worthy successor to Po while Po keeps up his responsibility and authority as the Dragon Warrior. This was a good movie. Admittedly, I think it's the weakest of the Kung Fu Panda movies, but I know everybody's been saying that, so I guess you could say I probably have nothing to say. But the thing is, I still like it. I think it's good, although there's some things that kind of were just they weren't really either executed well or either they just didn't really fit with it for a finale to Kung Fu Panda. Well, I assume this is the final movie. I don't know. For starters, I find it kind of weird, with these movies, that Po just has the same personality. Because this whole thing is that Po is trying to become a teacher to find the successor for the Dragon Warrior. So you think he would be kind of more responsible at this point and kind of, more noble. But I mean, he is, but he kind of has that same can do attitude, and he's craving for justice and combat, and throughout this one, I get that it's his personality, but I feel with these movies, Po just kind of maintains that same, uh, attitude for the whole franchise, so he never really continues to grow as a character. And I mean, he does grow as a character, but his personality, yeah, it's imagine if through all the Toy Story movies, Woody just was just bickering with Buzz. It wouldn't exactly work. But I guess, to be fair, that does add to a lot of the comedy, because I feel compared to the other Kung Fu Panda movies, this movie is a lot more comedy focused, and that's not a bad thing, because it's a movie called Kung Fu Panda and it's a DreamWorks movie, so obviously it's gonna be humorous, and the humor is hit and miss. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's just typical cliche kids movie humor. Remember that one joke at the tree where they're trying to sneak past those sleeping crocodiles or whatever, and then of course there's a fart joke, because why does every kids movie have to have farts in it? And also the joke, those little rabbits who are with little child voices who are vicious, that's the thing. I really can't stand that whole cliche of harmless but threatening creatures where they're "Oh, you're so cute," and they're I don't know, it's never been funny to me, except for Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Somehow that actually made the joke funny. Maybe the blood just added to the effect. And yeah, those rats, they kind of do take up a lot some of the movie. They really want you to laugh at them and how vicious they try to be, even though they want you to go "Aww." But it's it's even DreamWorks already did this joke with Puss in Boots and Shrek too, so the joke really wore thin. So I don't know, maybe someone at DreamWorks really found it that funny. But lots of the side characters, they're kind of forgettable. Like Poe just rounds up a bunch of animals to try and take down the chameleon. And the chameleon, well, she's not on screen a heck of a lot. I did really like her. I thought she was a really cool idea for a villain. Like, you could argue she's just the chameleon from Tough Puppy, but although here she's definitely not as funny. Like, she's not humor. She's more serious, and I really do like her for that. And it was a really cool idea for a villain, because with a movie about fighting a bunch of animals, and one of them's an animal who's known for blending in with nature, it's really kind of a neat idea for a villain that's not just a typical, like, not a typical kung fu master or something. Like, I mean, you do also see the other villains as you saw in the trailers. It's mostly Tai Lung though, but Tai Lung, he was cool to see. I did like, it was kind of like a good callback to how the movie started, and even like there's lots of instances where it's like looking down, where his spirit is looking down on Poe, saying it's stupid that he's still the Dragon Warrior because he's just a big flabby panda. And they kind of do focus on. They don't really focus on Lord Shen or Kai. I mean, it was cool to see them, but yeah, they don't really get that much focus, I guess, because those aren't the original OG villains, which is a shame because I think Lord Shen probably might be the best villain in the Kung Fu Panda series. I really like his story in the second movie, and I do think he really was threatening for such a goofy looking villain. So, but yeah, but the chameleon, like, she's a good villain, and she definitely has a lot of moments to shine. I think it's not just callbacks to the other villains. I think she really brings it to a good chapter of the story where Poe's admiring and looking forward to his future, while at the same time trying to relive his past. And that's kind of the theme of the movie, because the whole thing is that he's supposed to teach this little fox, and the whole thing is that he's trying to understand, how does Shifu feel? And even Shifu appears throughout some of the movie, and he even doesn't want to take over as a kung fu master because Poe believes that he's not really worthy, because he feels he disappointed Shifu a lot of times. And I think that does really make for some good drama, and I like that they did that. It goes to show how much the story progressed from the first movie. And yeah, most of the other cast members from the other three movies don't return. Like, the Furious Five are only in like a few brief scenes, but that's it. And to be honest, it didn't bother me that much, because I actually like how this movie was about Poe. It wasn't just about him and his connection to his idols, for a lack of a better word. So like, it didn't just want to feel like all the movies all over again. Like, Poe's now a responsible and authority figure. He shouldn't have to look at his heroes. So I didn't really mind that they didn't have much to do. And I do think like all the worlds that they go through on their adventure, like the little fox, yeah, who's played by Aquafina, like she's an okay character. I guess if you can tolerate Aquafina's voice, but she's not the most interesting character. She's kind of a typical sidekick, con artist, troublemaker type character. Like, have you noticed how many animated movies always have a sidekick who starts as a con artist and then becomes, a likable comic relief sidekick? You have Coco, Zootopia, Valiant. Why can I only name Disney movies? But she was fine, and like, her character, it actually did have a purpose. Okay, I'm not gonna bother trying to keep this a secret, because it's not like you care about spoilers for Kung Fu Panda 4. She's revealed to be working for the chameleon the whole time, and yeah, well, it is kind of a twist that you expect, because you're like, yeah, something about her, just her nature, the nature of her, sly personality kind of feels like she's probably not trustworthy. But it's, in all fairness, it does work. I think her character of her being a trickster does make sense, given that it's revealed that she was working for a villain, and she does have a good redemption arc, so there's that to her. So yeah, it does add for a good story of who to trust, and even Poe a lot of the time feels stupid and guilty about it, and he doesn't even feel responsible. So yeah, Kung Fu Panda 4, like, while it's not as strong as the other movies, it still is a pretty good story about knowing your knowing your instincts and leadership, and it does have tackle a lot of good themes, and Poe really develops as a character while also having a lot of fun over the top action to boost. Even if not a lot of the jokes land, it's still a really fun movie. It's what you want from a Kung Fu Panda movie, even if it some of the themes and content aren't as strong and really thought provoking as the other ones. It still does have a lot of good action and really good animation and some good laughs here and there. So it was a fun film. I actually did like it more than a lot of people did. I mean, I wouldn't call it necessarily great, but I still liked it for what it was. All right, and the trailers I got before the movie, I got Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Okay, this is weird. I don't know why I got, because Beetlejuice isn't a kids film, so this is kind of weird. But anyway, I'm still interested seeing how this one is. I mean, I always liked Beetlejuice as its own movie. I know I'm repeating myself over and over again, but I'm still curious to see how a sequel turns out, because Tim Burton, he's always creative, so I'm sure he'll make up a good story for this one. I got the Garfield movie, though weirdly enough, it was the first trailer. There's already a new trailer out, so why did they do the first one? But either way, I'm definitely looking forward to this since I am a Garfield fan. I got The Young Woman in the Sea. I'm curious about this one. I mean, I don't know if I'll see it on the big screen, but maybe when it hits Disney Plus, I might check it out. It's one of those Disney sports true story movies, those movies like Million Dollar Arm and Remember the Titans, Invincible, those kind of movies. It's about this woman who's trying to swim all across the globe through the English Channel, and I think it could be an interesting story. And Daisy Ridley's always a really good actress, so I'm definitely curious to see how this one is. So I'll definitely have to check this one out. Like, even if not, maybe I can just watch it at home on Disney Plus. It might be an interesting story. I got If. This was a short trailer though. It like it was supposed to be the second trailer, but like the same one. This, I guess, in other words, it's the same one I got before Godzilla X Kong. So, but I'm curious about this one. It looks very unique, and I really like all the weird character design. So, and John Krasinski's proven to be a good director, so I'm hopeful for this one. I got Inside Out 2. I'm intrigued. Just like Beetlejuice, this isn't a movie that I thought really needed a sequel, but I'm still interested to see what they have. And Pixar usually has proven that they prefer stories over quantity of like trying to make a bajillion movies of a franchise. So they always put story first. So I'm really hopeful for this one. I'm sure it'll be good. I got Unsung Hero. This is some, I think, faith-based movie about like a country singer or something. Doesn't look like something I'd be into, but I mean, it looks, hopeful and optimistic enough. It looks uplifting for, I guess, if you like that kind of stuff. But me, I'm not particularly interested. I got Despicable Me 4. Again, this one looks like it'll be fun, and Will Ferrell's going to be in it, that should be good. He might probably be the best part of it. He could be, over the top and funny. So yeah, I'm definitely curious about this one. I'll definitely check it out. And I got this new DreamWorks movie called The Wild Robot, and this looks fantastic. Like, I'm genuinely serious. Like, this movie looks really good. They didn't really show much. I mean, it has that well, kind of 2D, trying to be like Into the Spider Verse animation style that every movie's been doing the past few years, kind of like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. But the movie itself, it looks amazing. It's a weird blend of like a robot trying to find its way through the forest, and like that's a weird blend of atmosphere and character, and it looks great. Like it didn't have that much or I don't know, maybe the teaser makes it look better than the movie actually is. Like I don't know, maybe like it does. It kind of reminds me of Wall-E, where it's about a robot, but there's not really a lot of dialogue throughout it. It's mostly the atmosphere. So, but maybe that's just what the teaser's like. Like I don't know, maybe it's actually more dialogue heavy, or maybe it's going to be full of more juvenile humor. Like, but I don't know. But so far, the teaser, I'm really curious. In fact, I'm not gonna lie. I think maybe this teaser, this trailer was probably the most interesting experience about seeing Kung Fu Panda 4. Not Kung Fu Panda 4 itself. I mean, it was good, but this trailer, I was like, whoa, I'm actually really curious about this one. So I really hope this actually ends up good. I definitely will. I would definitely see this one. So I'm really curious about it. And Lupita Nyong'o and Pedro Pascal are in it. So I'm totally sold. I think this might be this could be DreamWorks' best movie in years, so I'm definitely up for this one. So yeah, Kung Fu Panda 4, while there are a lot of themes that aren't as strong as the other movies, and sometimes it falls into the territory of like a lot of cliched kids films, and lots of the story kind of more so drags the franchise instead of, building up the characters well. It still is a worthy film. It's got some laughs and some really good fast-paced animated action to keep you entertained. So it's a good one to see if you want to see something animated. So goodbye, everybody.